The viral singing furry accused of being a predator. And now, chat, I know how much y'all love furries. and I know we got a few furries in the server here, so I can't entirely hate them. Xeva's a furry? You have no proof. I'm not a furry. Biggest slander of 2026. You could call me many things, but don't call me a furry.
So furries, there's quite a lot of them nowadays, with it being speculated there's 1 or 2 in every 5,000 people, and that's only estimated to increase. And they're especially active on the internet, mainly in communities like War Thunder. No, this
I feel like there's a lot of furries in IT. Anything tech related, there's guaranteed to be furries. A lot of furries. Which would make sense how they're able to afford so many of those fursuits. Do you know how expensive those things go for?
This isn't slander, the facts speak for themselves, and I am more than happy to take another sponsorship from the Omnisire Snail. Also, if you play anything but Germany, you're a pussy bitch. It's also said they are very active on a game that is essentially the hellhole of the internet and has a reputation that is the equivalent of a filled septic tank. VR chat.
Oh, I guess I'm weird for wearing a fursona. I guess it's also weird that I have a fucking litter box right beside me, is it?
Yes, 100%.
Shut the fuck up.
But we have talked...
Wait, is this real? Chat, is this real? I know there's some people who unironically have a litter box for them to use the bathroom. Houses have toilets, yeah, but there are just some people that are very in tune with being a furry to the point where they would use a litter box, which is questionable at best and very fucking disgusting. You are a human being, not an animal. Why would you want to be an animal? I mean, chat, I get it. You know, there's some people that want me to put a collar on them. I don't think they want to be treated like animals, right? But you'd have to clean up your own shit and piss. Why not use the toilet? Maybe they have a partner who's just as freaky as they are. I often find out that is the case. Either freaky as them or very, very fucking tolerant of their behavior, probably because they work in IT. Oh god, then there's the age regressor, but hopefully that's not a topic we discuss right now. Me when Chris Redfield puts me in a cage for barking too loud. Okay, queso. Alright, then didn't realize you were in this chat. Bro, I can't even. I'm just gonna go slam my head into the drywall. Have fun with that. Tell me how well that goes for you.
A lot about furries on this channel, almost as much as VTubers at this point, but that's probably because there are so many furries that this community of anthropomorphic individuals have basically seen and experienced it all. I'm talking chlorine attacks, murder, predators,
okay, that's
zoophiles,
that's not
the dreaded
that's
pizza incident of October 2021.
What? Now I gotta know. Wait. Wait, is this something that we could look into real quick? Hold up.
Do not Google that if you're eating. You will lose your appetite, especially if you're eating pizza. But just all around, there's been quite a lot of terrible events and individuals that have been involved in or surrounded this community. And it's directly led to the reputation of furries over the years being tainted as a result. And it's to the point where the stereotype of furries nowadays is often that most are assumed to be just as worse as those involved in said notorious events that have occurred within the community, when in reality a lot of furries disown or disavow these types of activities and do not welcome these people within their community, and they are often on the same side as people outside the community when it comes to criticizing the more infamous members. The only thing the average furry is guilty of is being way too educated on guns and computers to an insufferable level.
Fed, you you mentioned something about the increase in firearms community. Hold on, get your ass back here. Get your ass back here.
Like for the last time, I do not give a f what flavor of Linux you're using. I still prefer Kali, and come back to me when a Linux distribution can run at least one piece of Adobe software. And yes, I know there are Linux alternatives to Adobe products. I already know you love using GIMP. Also, most furries
He's so right. I'd be using Linux every day if it wasn't for the fact that a lot of the programs that I use aren't compatible with Linux. If I wasn't a content creator, I'd probably be using Linux as my main driver right now. But instead, it's my second driver. I fucking hate Windows. I hate Windows. I hate Microsoft. I wish I could use Linux as my main driver.
Aren't actually as vocal or loud about their hobby as you think.
I've been a furry in secret for years, and I want to know what my fursona is.
And you wouldn't usually know when someone is a furry, they're quite secretive about it, and chances are you may know somebody who is a furry without actually knowing it. No, for the last time, I'm not referring to myself. I am not a furry or furry adjacent, no matter how many times people claim I am. I would much rather most of you call me a slur than continue to lie on my name. But people expecting the worst from furries leads onto the topic of today's video. As you may have seen a certain clip that went viral where a furry was accused of doing something absolutely heinous, and in response to said allegations, for whatever reason, he decided to break out in song and made a public video singing Billie Eilish's Lovely straight after the allegations dropped, when they had most of the internet condemning them for said allegations.
Tear me to pieces.
Now I obviously can't play the rest due to copyright.
Y'all remember when this furry VTuber sang an apology video after getting called out for, I think you guys can fill in the blank there. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it without getting flagged. This is almost, if that is the case, this is almost on par with the ukulele apology video. Maybe they could do a collab. You know, she could play the ukulele and he's got the vocals. I feel like we're missing one though. I feel like there was another content creator that was making some stupid apology video. The ukulele apology video. That's a callback. Yeah, that's a moment cemented in internet culture at this point. How long ago was that? I feel like it was not that long ago, but I could be wrong.
Copyright, but I can tell you it keeps going. And you know, if they weren't being accused of something so terrible, I'd probably say their singing was actually pretty good in the full version. Anyway, this is the furry JT Wusky, a 26-year-old creator that, if you couldn't deduce from the caption of the video, was supposedly accused of grooming and other very disgusting things.
2 years
but there's
ago,
actually a lot more to the story than what that one viral video led a lot of people to believe. And it's something I wanted to talk about today, but before we get into the allegations, we need to quickly go over who JT Wusky is. JT Wusky, or JT as he's usually known, is a furry content creator that started making content around August of 2020, which was when they started streaming on Twitch, streaming games like VR Chat.
I feel like there was an increase in furries since the pandemic, like the very start of the pandemic. And I'm pretty sure the second part of that was VR Chat. There was an increase of VR Chat players, but I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me on that second half.
Yeah, remember when I mentioned how much furries love VR Chat? I was not lying. But apart from VR Chat, his usual content involved things like streaming other VR games, occasional IRL content, and regularly singing for their audience with covers of songs being uploaded to their now inactive YouTube channel.
It can always be worse.
JT was known for his streams being both high energy and him regularly demonstrating his singing skills that many of his viewers enjoyed, which, as we know, said singing would later make him more well known outside of his community, just not for the right reason. His streams were also known to be occasionally questionable at times, at least by my standards.
Yeah. Yeah. You're good.
Okay, bro. Okay. Oh god. Tell me this either has to be somebody recording this in a public instance or this is a video. Why would you post this? Why would you post this for everyone else to see? How's Evie acting in the Discord? Oh hell nah. They want you to call you a good boy. Oh hell nah. Val's a freak. Val's a freak that goes out of his way to call me a good boy. Which I don't know what your guys' obsession with that, but I ain't no dog. You gave me a voice, I shall abuse it. And just like that, I'm going to remove your tongue.
Good boy.
Oh my god. Oh my.
They're not even doing the meta right. You're supposed to be doing that type of shit in the Just Chatting section with the hot tubs and half-naked people. Anyway, JT would be somewhat well known within the furry community as the years went on. They reached over 30,000 followers on Twitch, over 100,000 on Twitter, and they regularly attended furry events where they were often recognized by the community. They eventually adopted a furry VTuber for their content around the time VTubers were popping off, and from the outside it definitely looked like GT and his platform would continue to grow.
I hate to say this, but his model actually looks pretty neat. I really like the jacket with the gradient color where the hood is.
But around February of 2024, allegations would be made against JT that would seemingly stunt their growth. They actually wouldn't see any growth at all going past this event, at least on things like Twitch. Probably because both their name and brand became synonymous with the terrible allegations levied against them. That is a basic description of who JT Wusky is, but what are these damning allegations?
The darkness of the afterlife is all that awaits you now. May you find more peace in that world than you found in this one.
Now, in this section, we do talk about some disturbing things, so viewer discretion is advised.
I love disturbing things.
I honestly wish I could unsee the things I have seen.
Oh god, is that
So the allegations made against JT were all sourced from a public post JT didn't even make. It was actually made by another furry that draws NSFW content, who for this video I'll call Sheppy.
Okay.
Now Sheppy and JT were somewhat acquainted in 2022 to the point where Sheppy apparently visited JT, and from what I can see from the context given,
so
when they
know
met
each other
they
in
did
real
not very
life.
wholesome furry things involving feet.
And
I'm honestly thinking about swallowing 12 gauge with the amount of things I've been exposed to looking into this.
hey cuz, you want to hand me over that shotgun, please?
Sheppy would then make a public post with an art piece to commemorate the meeting, and you can probably guess what the art piece was.
Two of them smashing.
It was basically fairy porn, and this is the post that started it all. But it wouldn't be immediate, it would take about 2 more years till it would start causing problems. And within those 2 years, around 2023, Sheppy would apparently transition from drawing what they usually draw to drawing things like cub art, and would sign up for an adult furry website to...
Wait, drawing things like what? I don't think I caught that the first. What now?
Drawing things like cub art, and would...
Any furries in the chat can answer me. Can they tell me what the fuck that is? Cub art? Am I mishearing that? Cub art. Thank you, Snap. I couldn't tell what he was saying. I thought he said cub art or something like that, but he said cub art. Thank you. I unfortunately know those art pieces, and I wish I could unlearn them.
Sign up for an adult furry website to post such things. Now, if you don't know what cub art is, you're lucky and blessed, and I'm about to ruin said blessing. Cub basically refers to smaller, younger versions of furries, but in this context, Sheppy had transitioned to apparently NSFW versions of said characters.
Hey, chat, am I crazy for thinking that's borderline PDF content? I don't know if I can say the actual word. Because I think it's weird when you do NSF... Actually, no, I don't think it's weird. I think it's disgusting when you do NSFW content involving anyone underage. Is that a crazy take to say? Because I feel like if you make art like that, you probably should not be around kids. I've never been closer in a relationship with a Winchester. But yeah, I feel like if you make cub NSFW content... or art or whatever, or anything similar to that, you know, such as like Lolly or whatever, I feel like you shouldn't be anywhere near a school and probably should be in jail. I don't know. Is that a crazy take to say? You could argue that they're just drawings but the intent behind it isn't what I would say is a good one.
which to say the least is very weird and something that within the furry community is looked down upon.
It's vile.
And in 2023,
Yeah,
Sheppy had started producing said artwork and was called out for it multiple times, especially on places like Twitter where people would tell him how disgusting his art was and that he was trying to hide it now or rebrand, which led them to later respond by basically saying they aren't hiding that they draw this content, they won't argue about the morality about the production of said art, and then for some reason they add that they've never been inappropriate with anyone underage, and that their excuse for drawing this content was that they had something happen to them when they were younger and it's a coping mechanism, and they were also—
Well, what the fuck? What the fuck kind of excuse is that? Guys, I'm making art of my trauma. What? I feel like that is a terrible way of going about it. In fact, I'd argue it's a very disgusting way of going about it. It's a coping mechanism, that don't post it. Diddy's lawyer gotta write this down. Your Honor, you don't understand why Diddy did what he did. It's because when he was a young boy, his father did the exact same thing to him. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna hold up well in court. What the fuck? That is this shit putting me in a stun like that's fucking disgusting. Because something happened to you, you're gonna create art and publicly show it to the world? That is disgusting. That is vile. Coping or not still doesn't make it morally right. Exactly. It's disgusting. It's vile. It's just lock his ass over something. Give him the chair.
also called out for writing a story, I guess, where a father does things to his young fairy son.
Like, is it tragic that it happened to him and that he experienced a horrific event? Yes, of course, but that doesn't mean that's an excuse for you to create said art, if you could call it that for lack of a better word. It's what the fuck?
Yeah, this is getting very disgusting and deplorable very fast, I know, but it is relevant to the story. I swear your chromosomes actively evaporating from me telling you these things were not sacrificed in vain. Now, some would take note of Sheppy's transition to this type of content and, like others, begin calling them out for it, with the most notable being the account Furry Following, an account supposedly run by multiple people and dedicated to following all fairies. And sometimes they would also comment on situations and drama happening within the fairy community as well. Also, just to add a random trivia gem here, they previously played a part in calling out a fairy way before they were later known for being put on the front page of Twitch wearing a diaper and using a pacifier, which stunlocked a lot of people when they loaded up
Wait. You tell me that's the same guy?
As well. Also, just to add a random trivia gem here, they previously played a part in calling out a fairy way before they were later known for being put on the front page
of
never mind.
They called them out.
And using a pacifier,
I thought that was the same guy for a
lot
second.
of people when they loaded up Twitch and was greeted with said fairy with a diaper and a pacifier on the home page, which was a huge controversy over 6 months ago.
They adore you!
Anything for you?
Locked in. Has Kevin said anything?
Kevin is so locked in, he hasn't spoken a word in 50 minutes. I'm not gonna judge.
No, I'm 100%
okay, I'm gonna judge. Actually, I
think
Meanwhile, if you show a little bit of skin as a VTuber, right, you're gonna get banned for probably 30 days.
Bit of lore for you there. But anyway, it wasn't out of the ordinary for the Furry Following page to call out people within the furry community, especially those that were associated with or made cub content. And in this situation, Furry Following had started to focus on Sheppy and the art he made involving JT from 2 years ago, as they would add to a comment somebody else made about the post referring to the art as more cub content that Sheppy had produced, and by association they condemned JT Wusky because not only was he in said art and they claimed he commissioned it, but he had also met the person who made it IRL. And this is what started the claim that JT was endorsing Cub content and potentially had an interest in it. Some would...
Would he have known? I know there are some people in friendships that just absolutely keep their darkest secrets airtight, so they might not know everything. But if he knows about it, then yeah, I think the guy deserves that.
Come to the defense of JT, but then the Furry following account would then basically shoot out more allegations claiming that these people were just as bad and alleging that 2 of them had children, and when one of them asked for proof that they did such things, they didn't provide any at all and just blocked them. But JT would start getting hate online around this time, primarily because of the allegations made against him, which resulted in him making the dreaded response video many know him for.
Tear me to pieces, skin and bone.
And going forward,
Hey man, what do you have to say about the allegations being thrown at you? Do you have something you want to say? Tear me to pieces, skin and bone. Chad, I don't know about you, but I don't think making a music video is exactly a proper response when allegations are being thrown towards you. Now, I get it, there are some claims that people can make towards you that it's probably best to ignore, but I don't think this is one of them, especially when it's accumulating a lot of attention your way. And maybe you should say something about it, not sing it.
He would be infamously known as a disgusting degenerate.
I have a dark secret. I'm actually a fed. I fucking knew it.
Furry, and they would never really come back from it. But obviously, that's not the full story. That's just the information a lot of people were fed, and through the circulation of that one video, people still continue to believe that narrative regarding JT, when in reality, most of the allegations made against JT made no sense at all. So starting with the one thing that kicked all of this off, which was the public post made by Sheppy, and attached to the post was an art piece supposedly showing the Cub versions of his and JT's personas doing things based on what apparently happened when they met. This was originally posted in 2022 before Sheppy was known as a person who drew Cub and before they made the transition to more Cub content, which was in 2023. And as JT later said on his alt account when people were accusing him of being in support of this type of content, saying this wasn't a commissioned piece and there was no indication this was Cub, this was just a gift made by Sheppy.
Wait, let's read that tweet. Let's read that tweet. This is literally not cheese pizza, it's a gift art they made when they visited my place and we licked each other's feet. The fact that people are trying to dig into something that's not there is honestly so ridiculous. I'm not into baby or whatever the fuck. I don't feel like this is something that you should be posting if it was a gift. Am I missing something? Did bro really have to bring up fucking feet licking? Maybe that's something that happened in the art piece. I'm not too sure, Fed, but I'm not entirely sure that bringing up licking feet was necessary to the plot, but whatever, I guess.
They also would go on to clarify on their main account.
Okay, let's read this shit. I'm honestly so sick of dealing with people who try and cancel me that literally have me blocked Lamau. They try to expose me for gift art I got that was from 2 years ago that literally shows my friend at the time and I licking each other's paws. I'm not into baby fur child stuff, and I don't judge people that do, but obviously it's bad when it's PDF related, or is it goon related? I can't tell with the censoring. That art was not by any means at all, and I would have immediately told them that I don't give permission if I saw it as something related to cheese pizza. I'm just done dealing with people trying to find dumbass reasons to cancel me when I literally don't do anything cancelable. I'm just a dog on the internet.
They're not in support of this type.
Well, I guess people just want to see the dog put down. What can you do about it, right?
Type of content, and would not have allowed them to make it and post said piece if they knew it was NSFW Cub content. They also supposedly didn't even know that Sheppy was drawing these types of things and actually hadn't been in contact with them for some time, which was before they were known for drawing cub art, with the last message JT actually responded to being in March of 2023, but a lot of the times Sheppy reached out to JT, they were either overlooked or ignored, including one where Sheppy reached out regarding this situation, even saying themselves that the two don't really talk. And yes, from the outside, it still looks bad that they had previous contact with someone that makes said images, but it wasn't proven that JT knew they made said content or supported it. But 2 years...
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like if you were friends or associated with someone, you're not going to know everything about someone, right? They're not going to put all their cards on the table. So I understand being caught up in a shitty situation. And if you don't talk to them anymore, I don't think you should really be getting shit for it. But again, if you're endorsing something like this, then yeah, I do think you should get shit for it. But it seems like he's not really endorsing this behavior or action.
After the post that started all of this was made, only then were these allegations made against JT, and then signal boosted by the Furry following account, which then made more allegations against other people without providing further evidence. If these allegations are starting to look less reliable, you're not wrong, and as it turns out, all of this happening wasn't just a coincidence. Now, as I previously said, the Furry following account is ran by multiple people, and apparently one of the members of the page had something against JT, a member going by the name Chronic. They were the one that retweeted and signal boosted the initial tweet that kicked everything off. They were also the one that made said initial tweet. And when the account started getting pushback, especially for the allegations they were throwing out, they would make a statement saying said member has been removed, and they would retract the claim they made about one of the people defending JT saying they were a groomer, clarifying they might have only said that because that creator suddenly switched to more adult themed content, but once again that member that made that claim had been removed. However,
you can't put the genie back in the bottle. They were the serial killer all along. Gasp! I never would have seen that coming.
Person being accused of being a groomer would still push for proof that they had in fact removed said member from the team, which would result in another member responding saying there is no proof of their removal as everything was done over a call, they take responsibility, and then goes on to say they don't like both JT and them. And they would go on to make multiple other tweets saying they are sorry for what that member did, but at the same time explaining why they don't like this person. And at this point, if you couldn't tell,
wait, am I missing something? Let me keep you playing.
It comes off like they weren't really sorry about what happened at all. And that's probably because they weren't. They were the same person that made the accusation.
Oh, what the fuck?
In the first place. In fact, there was no group of members running a single Twitter account. It was all one person with multiple alts known as Grim, which would...
Okay, this makes more sense now. I was gonna be like, why is the person acting this way? It's still hating on the one that was falsely accused. I'm assuming it's falsely accused, right? Under the pretense. And then just to find out it was one guy with, what, 6 or 9 different alts? Yeah, that makes more sense. The plot thickens. Just like the amount of alt accounts they seem to have on Twitter. Holy fucking unemployment.
Become apparent when their ex-partner came out claiming such, alongside saying that Grim had always had a so-called hate boner for JT. The ex-partner would go on to talk about dating Grim, claiming Grim hated and talked about JT so much it made them jealous, alongside other things. Grim would attempt to discredit them, in one case posting on one of his alts where he apparently presented himself as a trans person, and he would share a picture saying he didn't look like Grim at all, but said image may have been altered by AI. He would then take to his Discord telling everyone he is done with Twitter and the Furry following account, who would once again claim that his ex is lying about the account and the other people on the account are from college and are not him, and he would finish off saying he's going to the hospital due to all the stress this has.
The hospital excuse. Guys, I know I'm an asshole that started a bunch of bullshit and now people are calling out my inexcusable action of false accusation. But I'm in the hospital now, so please let me be. I can't handle this much attention and criticism and hate towards me.
Cause, and for whatever reason, after this, a lot of his accounts he claimed wasn't him and was his friends would be deleted, with an Excel spreadsheet being made showing all of his alts and the personalities he attempted to portray on them. JT would also comment on them deleting their accounts, saying after everything they did and all the damage they caused, they just ran away. A day later, Grim would make a video supposedly admitting to everything, like the alt accounts being in fact him, but aside from the transcripts provided, I couldn't find a re-upload of the video or any archive of it because Grim would quickly remove the video after. So just to summarise everything, an account that had the purpose of following and supporting every furry, supposedly ran by multiple people but in reality was one person with over 6 alt accounts, and apparently they had a raging hate boner for a creator, made a post on his alt account alleging that this creator was into or endorsing weird cub content, and then signal boosted said allegation on their much bigger account, and when people started to push back they would spew more allegations, then would walk back those allegations, saying they removed the person making them whilst confirming why they hate the people involved. Then they get called out by an ex-partner for running multiple alt accounts. They claim the ex is lying, the stress is too much even though they started it all, and then would make a video admitting to it all.
Exactly what I said.
And in the aftermath, most people only got like a third of the lore and were mostly only interested in the video where JT supposedly apologizes for doing the things alleged against him, which for context wasn't even an apology. It was just a cover of a song he made which was normal for him to do, but admittedly was made at the worst possible time because people just assumed it was them showing guilt for what they supposedly did.
That is a pretty bad look, I'm not gonna lie. The optics does not look favorable when you do something like that. But that's fucking insane what one person's hate boner achieve in this case. Imagine having your online presence ruined because of that. I pray some shit doesn't happen to me where somebody just full-blown hates me and then does all this crazy shit. That's one of the things that I fear the most, because there are a lot of crazy people online for sure. And I'm not sure if I'd be well equipped for it. I mean, can't he sue or something? I don't know. I'm just a normie online. I'm already making some alt accounts just to hate before it becomes cool. Yeah, I was hating on this VTuber before everybody was on the bandwagon. You guys are just LARPing as haters.
And the caption applied to the videos that have been circulated, more specifically the ones where it says he grew somebody. I don't even know where they got that from, because from what I saw, there was only one person being accused of grooming.
Wait, what if the person that made that post was the guy that fucked off Twitter?
And it wasn't JT, it was some other creator. But JT still to this day is believed to have done said heinous act, primarily because someone made a post due to a hate boner they had for him, and someone else took his cover video, scrubbed all the context from it, and applied a caption that is, from what I can see, factually incorrect. But said video went somewhat viral, and a lot of people wrongfully believe he did do these things, and still do every time the video occasionally circulates. And I'll be honest, I believed it as well when I came across.
That's crazy what lack of doing your own research gets you, just taking somebody at their word. And I don't blame them. That's a lot of work to find out whether or not somebody's actually fucked up. Misinformation, yeah, misinformation could go really crazy. Now, you could argue that it's a great way to boost your popularity, but the moment people start sniffing out some bullshit, you're gonna regret it big time. That's why I try to live a very authentic life, be it in person or online. So whatever bullshit out there that people say, it's just simply not true. Why do you think I always tell you guys that I'm an asshole? Because I'm an asshole. But I'm not a liar. I'm just a very professional gaslighter, is what I would say if I was actually a gaslighter. What'd you give me that look for, Val? Don't side-eye me. Stinky.
Across the video whilst I was scrolling, and I only believed otherwise when I did more scrolling and came across another video from the person who made JT Wuski's model, going into why he's innocent, pointing to a document that compiled all the information.
Holy editing, I want to learn how to edit like that.
Many still believe JT did do these things, and he did see a hit to his online presence because of it. I guess the moral of the story is don't believe everything you see online, especially at face value. JT does still occasionally stream, but since this event happened, at least in my opinion, it seems because of it, the momentum he had previously is no longer there. Make sure to check out Xevarith's video on this situation. It did help with this video and it goes further into detail about what happened. But that's just something I wanted to talk about today.
Damn,
once again, don't trust everything you see on the
sure.
internet. No, a gilf in your area is not interested in you. Who would be? And yeah, that's all I had to say, and bye-bye.
You know, I just thought of something. Isn't it crazy how someone like this JT individual gets accused of grooming a minor and they took a massive hit to their online presence and popularity, but somebody, what's his name, Dr. Disrespect, is perfectly fine, and I don't know if he's still growing, but he's still making content and making money off of it, I'm pretty sure.